When you're selling high-ticket AI services, your proposal is not just a document. It's the very moment where the client decides whether you actually understood them. And I think this is where a lot of people lose the deal. They have the right offer, they had a decent sales call, they know that they can help, but then they send a proposal that feels generic, rushed, or confusing, and suddenly the client goes quiet. Trust me, I've been ghosted by clients so many times before. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through how I think about proposals for AI services, what actually needs to be inside them, and why I personally put in way more care into my proposals than most people probably think is necessary. Because for me, the proposal is not admin, it's a part of the sales process. I want to be clear with you before we get into this though. You do not need a beautiful, custom-coded website proposal to close clients. I know people who have closed serious six-figure deals with a simple PDF. You can use something like PandaDoc, which has built-in invoices and payment processing. You can use something like Canva or even Gamma.ai to create stunning slideshow presentations, or even just a Google Docs to send a clean, simple PDF. The tool is not the thing that closes the deal. What closes the deal is whether the client can read your proposal and feel, this person gets my problem, knows what to do, has thought through all of the details, that I can trust them with the work. That is the real purpose of a proposal. For me personally, because I come from a visual artist background, I naturally care so much about the visual presentation. I'm just a visual creative person, and I'm very detailed and highly perfectionist. Honestly, too much of a perfectionist. So the way I create proposals has changed significantly over time. When I first started, my proposals were simple PDFs. Then I started making them in Canva. From Canva, I then moved into Gamma.ai, and now for certain high-ticket opportunities, I actually custom code the proposal in a live website hosted on Versal that I create using Codex or Claude Code. Is that necessary? No. Does it create a wow factor though? Absolutely. But the reason it works is not just because it looks good. It works because the thinking underneath it is strong. So before you worry about making your proposal beautiful, you need to make sure the structure is firstly doing its job. Because when you're selling AI services, you're usually selling something that still feels abstract to a lot of people. The client might know and understand that they need an automation. They might know that they want to use AI, but they usually do not know how to translate their problem into a real solution. And that's exactly your job. And the proposal is where you have the opportunity to show them the transformation. You're taking the messy conversation from the discovery call and turning it into something clear. Here's the problem, here's what's causing it, here's the solution, here's what we're gonna build, here's how long it will take, here's what it costs, and lastly, here's what happens next. That clarity is what people pay for, not just the automation or the workflow, but the clarity itself, because a confused client does not buy. Most people treat proposals like an invoice or a price sheet. I like to treat them like a proof of thought. By the time someone opens my proposal, I want them to feel like I have already started solving the problem. That does not mean doing free work. It means showing enough insight that they can see the quality of your thinking. If I had a call with a client and they told me that their sales team is manually following up their leads, their CRM is messy, and nobody knows which leads are hot, I'm not just gonna send a proposal that says AI automation package $10,000. That's just not enough. I want to show them that this is what I heard, this is why it's costing you money, this is the system that I recommend, here's what changes after we actually build and implement it, here's how this supports your actual business goals in the long term. That is a difference between quoting a service and positioning a solution. So let's break down the core structure here. This is the part that you should get right before you ever start to worry about the design. Start by grounding the proposal in the client. Not about you or your agency, not a long intro about AI, the client. I like to open the proposal with a short paragraph that basically says, based on our conversation, the main opportunity is to reduce manual work, improve response time, and create a more reliable system for your team. Something like that. It should immediately make them feel like, okay, this was specifically written for me. Next is where you reflect their current situation back to them. You want to name that friction clearly. For example, leads are coming in but follow-up is inconsistent, team members are manually copying information between tools, there is no clear system for tracking high-intent prospects, customer questions are being answered repeatedly by humans, reporting is scattered, so leadership does not have a clean view of what's happening in the organization. This matters because people trust you more when they feel understood and listened to. So before you sell the solution, show them that you truly understood their problem. This is where you connect the problem to the business upside. Because clients don't buy workflows because they're cute, they buy business outcomes. So instead of saying you will build a chatbot lot, I want you to frame it as, this gives your team a faster way to qualify leads, answer repetitive questions, and route serious buyers to the right person without adding more manual work. Same thing, but now it has actual business meaning. Now you explain what you're actually proposing. This should be simple enough that a non-technical person can understand it. If you're building an automation, explain the flow. If you're building an AI assistant, explain what it does. If you're building a dashboard, explain what decisions it helps them make. Do not bury the client in technical language. The client needs to understand what they are buying. This is where you get extremely specific. List what's included as the deliverables. For example, AI lead qualification workflow, CRM tagging and routing automation, follow-up email sequence, internal handoff system, testing and optimization, team training and onboarding, and a Loom walkthrough for documentation. The more specific you are, the easier it is for the client to justify the price. Vague proposals create price resistance. Clear proposals create confidence. Give them a specific and realistic timeline. I like to break it up into phases, like phase 1 is discovery and system mapping, phase 2 is building and integration, phase 3 is testing and refinement, and phase 4 is handoff and training. Even if the project is simple, a timeline makes them feel like the work is organized. It shows that you have a process. Next, we have the pricing section. I know many of us have major blocks around pricing, but I want to invite you to step into the new version of yourself that you're becoming that's about to overcome that. Do not make this weird. All you have to do is be clear. If it's a one-time project, say that. If it is a monthly retainer, say that. If there are optional add-ons, separate them clearly. I almost always like to present my clients with various pricing options so that they feel like they have control over their decision. The low end, the standard range, and then the premium high end. I also want to make sure that the price is connected to the value of the work, not just to the time that it takes you. Because the client is not only paying for hours, they're paying for reduced friction, faster execution, better systems, and the ability to stop losing money through messy operations. You can even calculate what their ROI would look like and add a little ROI calculator. But this is a little bit more advanced, and I'm going to explain this to you in the future. Another really important section that I like to add is a part where you protect yourself. You need to explain what is included and what is not included. For example, the number of workflows, number of revisions, number of tools included, whether copywriting, design, ongoing support, and what happens if the scope changes. I can't tell you how many clients that I've worked with where the scope starts to get a little bit out of hand with clients increasing their demand. So it's really important that you protect yourself from that happening. This is not about being difficult. It's about preventing confusion later and preventing resentment. The clearer you are upfront, the smoother the project would be. And with a very simple next step. Do not make the client wonder what to do. Tell them specifically to move forward, approve the proposal, complete the invoice, and we will schedule the kickoff call. Or reply with approval and I will send over the contract and first invoice. Keep it clean. The proposal should always lead somewhere specific. Now here's an example of the kind of proposal most people start with. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with this. If the thinking is clear, a PDF can absolutely work. The issue is when the PDF is generic. If it feels like you just swapped out the client's name and then ran it through ChatGPT, they can tell. Like I mentioned earlier, I like to use tools like Canva or Gamma, which can help you make the proposal feel a lot more polished. This is where you can start bringing in better storytelling, better structure, cleaner visuals, and a strong sense of flow. Again, the design is supporting the thinking, it is not replacing it. And then this is where I personally started taking things further. For some high-ticket opportunities, I like creating a live proposal experience. This could be a custom page with sections, visual, strategy, scope, pricing, and next steps. I like to use tools like Claude Code and Codex or other coding assistants to help me build these faster. Is this extra? Yes. Is it unnecessary? Probably. But this is also where my background as a visual artist becomes my competitive edge. If I'm pitching a digital transformation, I want the proposal itself to feel like a transformation. If I'm pitching a website, I want them to see what that website could potentially look like. I want the client to open it and immediately understand, oh, she thinks differently. She cares about the details. She can take something complex and make it feel clear. This is the feeling that I want to create, and this is the feeling that closes high-ticket clients. The real lesson is not that you have to custom code every proposal. The real lesson is that your proposal should make the client feel understood. It should make the solution feel clear, and it should make the investment feel justified. And lastly, it should make the next step feel obvious. Everything else is a layer on top. Design is a layer, animation is a layer, beautiful visuals are a layer, but the foundation is in the thinking and the value-based pricing. If the thinking is weak, the design will not save it. But if the thinking is strong, better presentations can make the proposal feel unforgettable. And that's the league where I personally like to play. So here's a few mistakes I see people make with proposals. The first one is making the proposals all about themselves. The client does not need 3 pages about your mission before they can understand how you can help them. Give them context, but do not make yourself the center too early. The second mistake is being too vague. If the proposal says things like AI strategy, automation setup, business optimization, but nobody actually knows what any of that means, it's really going to be hard for the client to say yes. Specificity sells. The third mistake is hiding the price or making the pricing section confusing. You want the investment to feel clean, confident, and like the obvious choice to make. The fourth mistake is skipping the next steps. If someone likes a proposal but does not know how to move forward, you have created friction at the worst possible moment. And the fifth most important mistake is over-designing the proposal before the offer is clear. This is especially true for my creative people like me. I get it. I know we love making things look beautiful, but the proposal needs to work before it needs to be pretty. If I was creating a proposal from scratch today, I would start with the sales call notes. I would put out what the client said that they want, what the real problem seems to be, what is currently costing them time or money, what tools they already use, what outcomes they care about, what would make the project feel successful. Then I would turn that into a clear recommendation path, not 10 options, one strong recommendation with a tiered pricing system. Clients can't deal with more confusion. They're looking for leadership, so your proposal should guide them. It should say that based on what you told me, here's what I recommend and why. That sentence alone will make your proposal stronger than most. This is one of the things I want to teach in a very practical way. Not just how I talk about AI, but how to package it, how to position it, and how to present it in a way that makes people actually trust you. Because if you want to sell AI services, you need a lot more than a list of tools. You need to understand how to turn a business problem into an offer and turn that offer into an irresistible proposal that someone can actually say yes to. That in itself is the #1 skill to be successful at high-ticket AI sales consulting. So if you're building an AI service business, do not treat the proposal as an afterthought. Treat it like a core and integral part of the experience. Show the clients how you think, show them that you listened, show them how you bring excellence to everything that you do, and show them the path from problem to solution. And if you want to learn how I structure offers, proposals, service packages, and client-ready systems, that's exactly what I do. So be sure to join me at geteducated.ai.